Leave now, useless wife who can't even clean properly. I sat there, feeling small and insulted. My mother-in-law gave me a mean look. We have Mauricio and my mom to take care of things. We don't need you. You always seem so unhappy. You're just a burden, my sister-in-law, who never helps with anything, said nastily. Hey, hold on. Your mom and sister are being too mean. I tried to speak up, but even my husband Mauricio seemed disappointed in me. My mom and sister are right. I don't need a wife who can't manage household chores while holding down a job. Plus, I found a young part-time helper who's much more efficient. Pack your bags and go. Mauricio's words left me shocked as all three of them joined in, criticizing me and calling me a failed wife. I felt my fists clenching in frustration. After all I've done for them, how dare they treat me like this? Just wait, I'll make sure they regret this. But as I looked at them, I maintained my composure and replied calmly, fine, I'll leave. The family that's always relied on me for everything will soon realize their mistake. I'm Eleanor, 32 years old, a working wife. Nowadays, many women work after getting married, and I've kept my job since graduating from college because I enjoy it. One morning, as I rushed to get ready for work, Mauricio interrupted, Hey, Eleanor, can you take care of the upcoming tax season? He handed me a stack of receipts and invoices. Again? You should handle your own cafe's accounting, I retorted, feeling frustrated. Mauricio avoided eye contact. You know I'm not good at that stuff. Please, can you help? I reminisced about our marriage 5 years ago. Mauricio used to work as a clerk at a restaurant where we first met. After a few dates, we tied the knot. Now, Mauricio runs his dream cafe, but he leaves all the boring tasks like procurement and accounting to me. Eleanor, I'm craving Chinese food tonight. Can you get the ingredients ready? My mother-in-law's request interrupted my thoughts. I can't right now. You can do it when you get back. Oh, and Vivian and the kids are coming this weekend. Make sure to prepare something they'll like. I replied reluctantly before hurrying out of the house. When Mauricio and I got married, I wanted us to have our own place, but he insisted we live with his mother because he worried about her living alone. So we moved into his family's spacious home. My mother-in-law isn't great at keeping the house clean, and it was a mess when we moved in. She lives on a pension and prefers eating out instead of cooking. Mauricio always says that housework is a woman's job, so even though I work, I'm stuck doing all the chores for the whole family. On top of that, my sister-in-law Vivian, who's moved out since getting married, often comes back home with her kids. When she's here, the workload increases even more. When I found out she was coming back this weekend, I couldn't help but think, not again. And then the weekend finally arrived, bringing with it the usual dread. I wish I could just relax on my days off from work, but instead, I had to entertain Vivian's kids and cook meals for everyone. As I rushed around, Vivian dropped a bombshell on me. Eleanor, by the way, I'm getting divorced and moving back here with the kids next month. Just thought you should know. What? Are you serious? I blurted out, completely caught off guard. Do you have a problem with that? She replied icily. No, that must be really tough for you. When are you planning to move back? I tried to sound sympathetic, despite feeling overwhelmed by the news. I'll move back as soon as I can, she replied. At first, I was surprised, but then I reconsidered. Vivian used to be a homemaker, so maybe she'll pitch in around the house. That could lighten my load a bit. Even though we're not particularly close, I looked forward to having less work to do and more free time. But soon, my optimism faded. Vivian, much like her mother, did absolutely nothing. She spent her days lounging around, watching TV and snacking. She didn't work or help with any household chores. Apparently, her neglect of household duties played a big role in her divorce. Now I found myself doing all the chores, including cooking for her kids and getting them ready for kindergarten. As time went on, my job became more demanding with a new project that required extra hours and early mornings. The house became increasingly messy. Coming home to a chaotic house was disheartening, especially when everyone kept asking, "When's dinner?" or saying, "You're so slow." To make matters worse, I started receiving passive-aggressive comments from Vivian and my mother-in-law. Eleanor, the laundry is piling up. Just because you work doesn't mean you can slack off, my mother-in-law would say. But I'm busy too, I tried to argue. Talking back to your mother-in-law, you're so bold, Eleanor. And you've been buying all the meals. That's not good for the kids. Can't you help out a bit since you're home? Vivian interjected. What are you saying, Mauricio? As a business owner, you don't have to work. You're just doing it out of selfishness. So fulfill your duties as a wife perfectly, my mother-in-law chimed in. I was speechless, and both of them looked at me as if it was all perfectly normal. That night, I was so angry I could explode. So I talked to Mauricio. I'm busy with work, and neither your mom nor your sister is helping with the housework. Are you badmouthing my mom and sister now? Mauricio glared at me. I replied in amazement, no, that's not it. But I can't handle all the housework by myself. If you could help me a little. I'm busy running a business. You might not understand because you have an easy office job, but running a business is hard. Besides, housework is a wife's job, isn't it? Don't expect me to do it, Mauricio said seriously. Are you serious, Mauricio? I stared at him in disbelief, but he just smirked. I'm a business owner, and I can do whatever I want with my money. I don't need a wife who spends it to make her life easier. His words stung. Why would you say something like that? I felt hurt. Besides, I've been getting along well with a young part-time worker. She's cute, unlike you. Pack your bags and leave. Mauricio's words left me stunned, and soon all three of them joined in, berating me and calling me a failed wife. I clenched my fists in anger. How could they say such things? But I held my emotions in check and replied, fine, I'll leave. Good, we'll be better off without you, my mother-in-law spat out coldly. I quietly stood up and placed something on the table. Mauricio, let's get divorced, I said, sliding a pre-filled divorce application across to him. It had become a symbol of my exhaustion, a last resort. Fine, I'll sign it. But don't regret it later, Mauricio replied, signing the papers without hesitation. I packed my bags and left for a weekly apartment that very day. No one came to bid me farewell. I submitted the divorce papers to the city hall and rented a condo. Around the same time, I finally accepted a promotion I had been avoiding due to household responsibilities and became a department head. It was a turning point in my career, one I had almost given up on. Immersed in my work, I felt a sense of liberation without anyone to hold me back. It was a feeling of pure joy. About a week after I left, my former mother-in-law began calling, but I was too busy and harbored no desire to speak to someone who had insulted me so deeply. I continued to ignore her calls. A year later, on a day off, she called again. Feeling it might be time to address things, I reluctantly picked up. Hello, I said, bracing myself. Ah, Eleanor, you finally answered. How could you ignore me for over a year? She sounded upset. What do you want? I asked bluntly. Well, how are you doing? Are you okay? She asked, trying to sound concerned. I answered her probing question straightforwardly. I'm doing great, working hard in my own apartment. I've been promoted and my salary has increased. I'm living comfortably. So, would you consider coming back? Her tone was almost pleading. Why now? I asked, feeling a shiver of suspicion. We're in trouble. We're running out of money, she confessed. I couldn't help but smirk as I responded. Oh, Mauricio's shop isn't even making a $1,000 profit. Huh, and neither you nor your daughter work. So that makes sense. Eleanor, you knew? She sounded surprised. Yes, I knew. Mauricio's cafe was barely making $800 a month in profit. Since I handled the finances, I was well aware. Mauricio, who liked to play the role of a successful business owner but lacked proper management skills or customer service, probably had no clue. Of course I knew. I was the one managing all the accounting and inventory. What? Why didn't you say anything? She sounded frustrated. I didn't realize you were contributing so much to our expenses as a manager at a big company, she confessed. Yes, I was bringing in over $3,000 a month. That's how we managed to make ends meet. I had been supplementing our family income with my salary because I knew Mauricio's shop wasn't doing well. He probably only realized he couldn't manage without my income after I left. Please, Eleanor, what happened to Mauricio's shop? Come back, she pleaded. By the way, what's going on with Mauricio's shop? I ignored her plea. His shop is going under next month. Even the part-time girl left him. He can't run a business with such poor management. He's too proud to admit his mistakes. No woman would want to be with a man like that. I chuckled, leaving my former mother-in-law speechless. Can we wrap this up? I'm busy, I interjected, eager to conclude the conversation. She hurriedly continued. Also, the house has been a mess since you left. According to her, The house was in chaos because no one had been doing any housework. It was cluttered, no meals were being cooked, so they had to resort to buying food, and they couldn't even afford a new washing machine. Wouldn't it have been nice if he'd left those appliances? My ex-mother-in-law remarked. What are you talking about? Those appliances are lazy. And what's wrong with taking things that I pay for? I shouldn't have said that, but I never expected the house to deteriorate like this just because no one was doing chores. Isn't it strange that 3 adults can't manage the housework? What are your daughter and Mauricio doing? I lowered my voice. Well, Mauricio has been sulking at home all day, doing nothing, ever since he found out his shop isn't making any money. Really, she revealed. He claimed he could do whatever he pleased with his money because he owned a business. And Vivian refused to work, no matter how much I urged her. She neglected housework and even asked me for pocket money for herself and her kids. My pension is running out, she confessed. Really? Your daughter told me she didn't need me because she had you, I said coldly. My former mother-in-law attempted to charm me once more. Please, Eleanor, my pension isn't enough for the 3 of us anymore. I have no intention of returning to that house. Your children are quite dependent, aren't they? She trailed off, unable to find her words. As I prepared to end the call, she persisted. Eleanor, we'll change our ways. Please come back. Let's all live happily together again. Okay, live happily with a wife you consider worthless? I cut her off sharply, but she continued to plead. I'm sorry for what I said. We're family. Please help us. We can't even afford the property taxes anymore. We'll have to sell the house, she begged. I have neither the obligation nor the desire to help you. Figure it out yourselves. Goodbye from your worthless wife, I said firmly, ending the call and blocking her number. As I sipped my coffee in my tidy apartment, I couldn't help but chuckle. 3 months later, I happened to pass by Mauricio's cafe. It was now an empty space, a testament to his failed business. Their family home had been sold too. According to a former neighbor, they had sold the house and moved to a cramped apartment nearby. They were causing trouble in the neighborhood, constantly arguing and creating a nuisance. Complaints were stacking up against them. They had the chance to work hard and take care of their own home, but they didn't, and it was typical of them. I glanced at their former home with a sense of detachment and walked away. Since then, I've been focusing on my career. Recently, a sincere and hard-working colleague confessed his feelings for me, saying, I admire your dedication to your work. We started dating with the intention of getting married. I don't think my next marriage is too far off, and this time, I'll be sure to choose wisely.